What drives someone to change the world? Welcome to Social Trailblazers, where we seek to answer just that question. Join Kelly Hernandez, CEO of Nonprofit Marketing Nerds, as she interviews leading social innovators and nonprofit changemakers. This podcast is brought to you by DonorBox, the easiest way for nonprofits to rock their online donations.
Welcome back to Social Trailblazers. Today I get to introduce to you someone really special to me, our very own Nonprofit Marketing Nerds social media strategist, Renee Bennis. Honestly, we first crossed paths 7 years ago at FinCon. That's a content creation conference for financial content creators. Depending on who you ask, we either planned to meet or I just happened to bump into her one day. Either way, we connected instantly. And now here we are, still solving the world's problems together, nonprofit marketing nerd style. Back then, Renee was launching her very successful blog, The Fun Size Life, writing about downsizing, paying off debt, and figuring out what minimalism really looks like as a mom. She walked through being a recovering shopaholic, shifting from holistic health blogging into telling the truth about life, and eventually building this amazing career as our social media strategist. In this episode, we go deep into the messy side of minimalism, how manifestation isn't always picture perfect, and what it really takes to create an authentic, intentional life. As we all do at Nonprofit Marketing Nerds, I'm sure you are going to also love Renee's honesty, her energy, and the wisdom she's picked up along the way. Let's dive in and chat with social trailblazer Renee Bennis. So welcome, Renee, and thank you again for being a social trailblazer, and I really do appreciate your time. Before we dive in so much into everything you're doing and your role at Nonprofit Marketing Nerds a little bit, do you remember where we first met?
I have been thinking about it so much since I started Nonprofit Marketing Nerds. I don't remember how we met specifically. But I remember, I think it was the last day of the FinCon conference.
Yeah.
And it was the last day and you were sitting alone at a table and like socializer me just sat down and we finished. Like, I think you might've been the last person I chatted with before I left and flew back home.
We have different memories. You and I planned to meet. Because I remembered that Jeremy with Personal Finance Club was waiting for me to go to lunch at a different table and you and I were planning to meet.
Oh, okay. Didn't remember that. I thought I just initiated a conversation.
No. And I think we met just the day before that at FinCon. Not wild. Yeah. So 100%. I know that we planned to meet because I remember Jeremy sitting at a different table waiting for me.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
The three of us talked the day before at it was a US themed party. Do you remember that?
Yes. Okay. US themed. I think. Yes. Yep. I do. Okay.
Yeah. So we met there, and then I don't know what you and I were talking about. We were going to solve the world's problems. Yeah.
And we are now, so it's good.
So that was probably 7-8 years ago, don't you think? 7?
I think it was 2019, right?
Maybe 7. Okay. And what were you doing? Why were you at FinCon back then?
Yeah, I was at FinCon because I had started my blog, The Fun Size Life, which I just wanted to start finding a way to make that passive income from home with my kids. And I started out as a health blog because I was learning so much about, like, I had a holistic nutrition certification, but my own health was just crumbling. So it was like everything I wrote was like, I totally believe all of this, and it wasn't real. So I was like, well, I'll just talk about my life and what I'm doing. So I started talking about how we simplified, we downsized, we started paying off debt. And somehow I found out about FinCon, about the this financial conference for not necessarily influencers, but people that are in the virtual financial space.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just felt called to go. I'm so glad I did. It's still, to this day, so many people that I'm still connected with because of it. So
100%. Yeah. And that's so funny. We have different memories of how we met.
I know. I couldn't remember exactly how. I just remember meeting at that table.
We planned to meet there because I remember because I was like, here's all my stuff. Other friends sit here. I have to talk to this friend first.
So Kelly remembers it the Kelly way, and I'm like, I remember it the Renee way.
Like, I just came in summary myself, and I'm like, I was surrounded by people and had to tell the people to wait because Renee and I were going to solve the world's problems, which we are doing now. It's great.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
I don't know which version's right. It's probably somewhere in the middle.
Right. Well, you're probably right.
I'm like, I know that Jeremy was waiting for me, and I remember the three of us talked the day before. That I do remember. Anyway, diving on to more important things. Like most people that know your face and voice, and all of your TikTok and Instagram followers know you, and you're gonna hate that I'm gonna oversimplify as like recovering shopaholic minimalist mom blogger. Is that correct?
Yeah, for sure. That's what I'm Renee. I'm a recovering shopaholic turned minimalist. And my goal with stuff is to help you have less so that you can do more. My tagline. Yeah.
Is that still your tagline? Is that still your tagline?
I mean, it's all still true. It's just I'm so much ready for so much. I don't know. It always felt kind of weird to be so niche down like that.
And I think, you talk a lot about it, which I love on your Instagram too. Like you share the journey. And I know, you're a nonprofit marketing nerd, social media strategist, but you are a social media nerd at heart. And I think it's something a lot of people miss is like they want to show up perfectly. And I think what people are so attracted to in you and with the nonprofit marketing nerds is like we show up super real, right? And authentically. And I love that you're sharing the journey. But I think you just worked on something and launched it. Congratulations, right? Like a couple months ago. It's not going to be by then. It's a couple months ago. That really is helping people that are going through similar journeys in a different way. Share a little bit more about the anti-minimalist. What's the title?
Anti-manifestation playbook.
Thank you. Like I know it's weird. All those M words, could be a word dropper. Manifestation playbook. Yeah. What is it?
It's so silly how I think from an outside perspective, you're like, oh my gosh, you went from minimalism and decluttering to like manifestation. But what I'm trying to, and it's been the struggle to like how to bridge the gap because I've tried to say this from the very beginning, but also felt that pressure to show up how I should in the minimalist space when you have a minimalist niche and that type of thing, especially as a woman. Other women naturally are like, how do I declutter? How do I get organized? But for me, when I started simplifying my stuff and started clearing back, we sold our house and downsized by over 2,000 finished square feet. And it was never like, it was partially about being overwhelmed with cleaning. As a mom, that's just part of it. But it was like I had that quarter life crisis and I started going, oh my God, I did everything wrong. Like I was like, I accumulated all the stuff I thought I should get and it was wrong. So it was always a very spiritual self-growth thing. It wasn't really like a clutter thing. It was a start over. So the manifestation thing, along with that, like spiritual growth, self-help, all of those natural things that we kind of fall into, the podcasts and the books or the audiobooks. And I loved the manifestation one so much because I had seen and experienced so many times in my life, including this house, which is weird, that things did just happen when I wanted them to. It was so weird. Like the people who own this house before us, I wound up teaching their son in preschool, like literally the year we bought the house from them, which is so weird. But the woman who lived here told me, she's like, we weren't even going to sell. And it's such a long story and I don't want to drag into it, but we were ultimately going to buy the house next door. We were like, okay, you know what? Like it's within our price range. It's the school we want to be in for our kids. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful house. But I am such a creeper. And I laid in the master bed and I was like, does not feel like my house. It's just, I'm a very intuitive person. And I was like, this isn't it. But like, price is right. It's pretty. Let's just go for it, And when we left, Tom and I both pointed at this house where we live now. And we're like, are we sure the neighbors aren't selling? Because it's a one-level home like we always talk. And to know that they weren't going to sell, they didn't want to. They had plans to finish their basement, to really hear that they didn't have the intention of selling this house. And then to know that it came up on the market. When it came up on the market, we were like, oh my God, this is the house we said we wanted to sell. It was so weird. So I really dove into the manifestation stuff because I had had so many times where stuff like that had happened in my life. Like I know there's truth to it. But recently I had this shift of where I need to let go of the trying process, because I think you can get overconsumed with all of it. And I could dive into it so long because I know there's so many things we can cover, but
I think
the playbook is like diving into you, which I think you'd appreciate, diving into yourself and your strengths and what you know about what has worked for you in the past so that you can still feel at peace in your life. So you're not manicking, you're not over trying, you're not hustling too hard. What has worked for you before to make things fall into place? And then copy and pasting that method. That's what the playbook is.
This episode is brought to you by DonorBox, the online fundraising platform that streamlines your process, elevates your donations, and ensures a user-friendly experience for your supporters. Explore the world of simplified, seamless fundraising at donorbox.org today.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, one of the things you've been talking about recently is the whole like journaling things specifically, right? And I know like I'm a full-time traveler and I've been very much part of the digital nomad community and all of I think there is like a large overlap in like the business community and the digital nomad community, like not necessarily manifestation, like that's one term, but also just like setting aggressive goals, right? Even like business coaches like Grant Cardone, 10x your goals and write it down and repeat it to yourself and then record your voice telling yourself. And it just feels like a different version. Both sides feel like a different version of hustle culture. It's almost like now you're in hustle culture manifestation, right?
Yeah.
And did you get to a place where that's what you felt was happening?
Yeah. And that's what I've done both, because I want things for my life. I want my life to unfold a certain way. So I started with the goals and the hustle and then the 10X, and that caused a lot of anxiety. But what's funny is like, you can go from goals to there's manifestation books that are like, write down your manifestation 3 times in the morning, 6 times in the afternoon, where you're just repeatedly writing down goals. They just slapped on a different label for it. And it's, I think both ways can easily fall into a form of trying too hard. And for me, and I think it's, maybe setting hardcore goals is something that does work for you. It's obviously going to be successful for people, or other people wouldn't be telling you to do it because it worked for them. But I had to understand that I don't operate that way. I'm a very intuitive, slow moving, need the space kind of person. And another thing I found is, a lot of times with manifestation or even goal setting or self-help, we can get lost in the books. We can get lost in the podcast. We can get lost in the process. And for me, what works absolute best is to get my ass out of the house and go do something, like go to the movies by myself or meet a friend for coffee or walk around the block. Like the most effective thing for me is to stop focusing so hard on the goal or the thing or the manifestation or whatever it is,
Yeah. And so specific to your life, like what has changed? Like there's something that inspired you to create this, right? What has changed now that I'll say not trying, because you use that language. Not trying is hard. Sounds so like, what happened now that you're not trying, Renee? Or manifesting?
Well, that's what I honestly, starting to work with the nonprofit marketing nerds was a huge decision for me. That was part of it too, was I kept saying, I'm like, I just want work that feels good, that aligns with my values, that I can feel like I did something worthwhile at the end of the day, but still allows me to be home or travel. I always say my grandma's going to be 97. I'm like, if I can take my laptop and go drive and see her and still be working and still get that stuff done, I've always wanted that type of income. And I thought it had to be through my own means, through my entrepreneurial spirit. And seeing that you were growing this nonprofit marketing nerds I feel like we kind of disconnected for it. Like I wasn't super following what you were doing. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh my gosh, you're doing this amazing thing. And I just knew you would be so great at it and see success. Cause I had seen like your little like your videos here and there. And so I was just very excited to jump on this because I think it's work that aligns. It was everything. It was that I work that aligns, the freedom to pick up my laptop and go if I need to. Working with someone that I know is not going to be the
You're like maybe
kind of. But then it also just was helped me get out of my own head. I'm not just sitting around focused on what should I do next and what should I say and what should my niche be and this just ridiculous things that we can get caught in.
Yeah, and we're sitting here right now as nerds, though, as nonprofit marketing nerds together, because, and I didn't read your anti-manifestation book did not exist then, but I took 7 months with my husband, right, slow traveling Europe with, and I said, I'm not going to make a decision. Exactly what you probably, right, one of the core things you're now preaching is like hustle, hustle, hustle. Like I was, recovering from burnout. Life was too much. We just had 2 miscarriages. I was like, this is like a lot of light right now. And I just want to be and create space. So instead of like, I want to bring in all this money now and hustle, 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 I think I did what you preach. I just didn't know it. I was following Renee's advice. And that's why you and I are here today too, is I took 7 months not making decisions to find the aligned right next step. Right.
Yeah. And it sucks, I think, because you and I are both, like, whether it's goal oriented, like we're people who want things for our life.
Right.
And so it feels like I have to do something to make that happen. It's not just going to fall into my lap, which is true. Like it won't, but it doesn't have to be forced as much as we think it does,
Yeah. No, and so I would like to talk a little bit more though. And I know you're like, Kelly, this is not what I talk about anymore. But honestly, like when I first met you, you were I would say, I think you'd like, where have you been? Marie Claire, Today's Show, right? Like what? You've been on a lot of things talking about downsizing and recovery shopaholic and minimalism. Talk a little bit more about like that journey, like the journey of talking about that, putting yourself out there and whatever you want to share. I'm curious.
Yeah, I think you'll, because it's actually probably more aligned than you thought it was going to be, is like, I was thinking about that this morning. At the time I was just sharing whatever I felt like on TikTok was kind of my main place where I was at from COVID on, was like TikTok. I would just share and talk. I wasn't thinking about it because at the time nobody was really on TikTok. So I was like, I can just be this person to no one's watching, just the internet. And so I would share whatever, but it wound up being where I got asked to audition for a TV show. That wound up not happening, but it was supposed to be like, I was going to be the mom, the declutter minimalist mom. And I thought, well, since they've reached out, I better make my content aligned with that message.
Nonprofit and association leaders, I've got a secret weapon for you. Imagine sitting down for just 30 minutes, yes, 30, and walking away with a treasure chest of marketing gold. Polished videos, scroll-stopping reels, compelling blogs, and share-worthy social posts. That's the Content Lab, where our team of marketing nerds transforms your mission into magic. You bring your expertise, and we'll handle the rest. Ready to feel like a marketing wizard? Visit nonprofit-nerd.com and check out the Content Lab. Type discount 200 at checkout to grab your $200 discount. Limited time only. Catch you in the lab. The Content Lab.
So I just leaned in and I had the thought in the back of my mind at the time. And I thought this will be good because I can see if I can do a niche. If it's just something like I'm capable of is niching down and focusing. And getting so many connections with like parents. It was parents, Marie Claire, New York Post, Newsweek. My daughter was in the Wall Street Journal. And it's all because I learned how to tell my story on social media. Mm-hmm. Because putting together my story was, for the reporters who were seeing it, was like, oh, perfect. Right. Like it's easy to scoop up because she told it for me. And all I need is to fill in a couple blanks, So it's kind of funny. That's the reason it all actually happened, was me kind of testing to see if I could niche down. Number one, because I was thinking, if I work with people someday to teach social media, this for real was in the back of my mind. I was like, I want to be able to know that I can have that strategy and that focus rather than just being like, I talk to my phone when I feel like it kind of person, if I could have a little bit more attention. And yeah, and then falling in line with all of the different news outlets and things like that, I think just further proved the power of good storytelling and where it can take you, that it really can shoot off. And then I went ahead and did the thing where I shot off in the wrong direction again. But whatever, it's fine.
Yeah, and here we are. No, that's too funny. And you said for media, which I don't want to underscore, especially because I know there are probably some nonprofits listening to this right now, and they heard, well, that's like Renee, and she's a person, and that's very hip to talk about like minimalism right now. And it's always been it's hip because it's important, not like it's hip, right? But the whole, at nonprofit marketing, we have this silver platter, right? You're delivering to the media a complete story on a silver platter. Like you said, they just need to scoop up. And the same is true for nonprofits, right? That's a lot of the work we're doing is just like, no, we're going to tell your story for you so that donors will scoop it up, so that media will scoop it up, so that your partners are like, this is the impact they're making. Yeah. So talk to me a little bit. I don't want to focus too much on this, but you are our social media strategist for Nonprofit Marketing Nerds. How has your previous experience, you feel like, helped you here?
In so many ways. And I also loved that, as soon as I was onboarded, you were like, we're doing a strengths finder. And I was like, of course we're doing a strengths finder immediately. This is great. But to see that, literally to see one of my very top core strength is seeing what other people are capable of, and being able to help them develop it. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, if I could find a way to make my own story appealing when I'm like, I don't know, I get bored of myself. So to be able to go face to face with all of the organizations that I've gotten the chance to meet has been so amazing, because each of them is doing things that are story worthy, that are impact worthy. And I think because of being who I am, but also having that experience of knowing how to sell a good story, has kind of meshed together so that when I have these meetings, when I have these connections, when I'm thinking about the next thing to say, I think it's pretty easy to spin a positive angle, and I want them to succeed because they make me care about what they care about, It's amazing. I don't know. I love it. I love seeing all the people who are changing the world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's a huge benefit, right, of our work. Is it it's going to help people daily.
And so many are doing it. It's crazy.
Yeah. So, where can people find, I'm going to get it right this time, your anti-manifestation handbook?
Okay. So this is kind of my recent pivot shift, is I just want to go back to no niching, which is so difficult for my brain for some reason. I'm like, no, I have to just talk about one thing. But something I've been wanting to do for a really long time is just talk about all the things, because I'm a information sponge, and I believe in sharing any good information with the world. That's why I've done the blog or used to do videos or whatever. Anyway, on my Instagram, on my TikTok, I've got links to all of the little things that I'll be creating. The anti-manifestation playbook is one of them. And then the one I think we talked about, and maybe you were wanting to talk about today, was the chat on purpose. I trained my chat GPT to be my life coach based on Luis, your husband. He's talking to me about, he's like, well, I just put all my strength finders into chat GPT. It's so genius. You could curate it, because I see people talking about chat GPT as help me plan my day or help me plan my meal. But the fact that you can actually do so much tweaking to make it very specific to you. So I put together a guide on that too, for anybody who,
And did you know that that's the number one way people are using AI right now? I was at the Harvard Business Journal, I think, just published that the number one way is companionship and therapy.
Yeah. Oh, I get it.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll drop links to all of everything Renee just mentioned. We'll drop links below in the description. But Renee, again, if you want to find her for social media, come to Nonprofit Marketing Nerds and you can work with her. But to hear all the other amazing, like you say, non-niche down yet incredibly important content that where can they find you?
And Instagram and TikTok are my main places at renee.bennis. But I also have a Substack. You can find that on probably my LinkedIn, which is there too. So
awesome. Well, thank you, Renee, for being a social trailblazer, and I know for so many people listening, especially those nonprofit people that probably need to stop pushing through and take a little bit of a pause and a breath for their life and their organization. This is so valuable. So thank you again. And thank you for being part of the team.
yeah, thanks, Kelly.
Thank you for tuning in to Social Trailblazers. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with others who are passionate about making a difference. Special thanks to our sponsor, Donor Box, for supporting this podcast and the incredible work of nonprofits everywhere. Join us next time as we continue to dive deep into the motivations of the change makers shaping our world. Until then, keep trailblazing.